Pemirsa Kreatif Talk, ketemu lagi dengan saya Naratama di VOA Kreatif Talk dan langsung dari kota New York. Tamu kita kali ini agak berbeda nih. Kalau biasanya kita selalu kedatangan tamu dari Indonesia, sekarang tamu langsung dari Amerika, New Yorker. Namanya adalah Paula Jeanine Bennett. Dan dia adalah seorang artis yang memang sangat komplit, keren banget. Dan yang menarik, Paula punya beberapa proyek dengan Indonesia dan juga Maroko. Kita akan ketemu langsung dengan Paula. How are you, Paula?
I'm great.
How are you?
I'm so happy to be here.
This is your first time with VOA, right?
It is.
So how do you feel?
I'm delighted to be here. We're up on the 30th floor. Such a fantastic view of New York City out the window. And it's a very hot day. Reminds me a little of Indonesia.
This is Indonesia. When was the last time you came to Indonesia?
The last time I was there?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 6 years ago.
6 years ago, before the pandemic, right?
Yeah, you know, we have a little bit of that sense of rubber time. Like, it was 2 years ago? No, it was 5 years ago.
I see.
So, yes.
Yeah, Paula. So tell me, Paula, why do you love about Indonesia? Because I know that you are a complete musician. You are a singer, you are also an artist, you are also, we're gonna say that it's a complete art on your soul. So, and then suddenly you have a project with Indonesian and also Marokuns and also all over the world.
I first wanted to go because I was curious about different kinds of percussion instruments.
Percussions.
Yeah, because there is bamboo percussion,
Angklung,
and of course,
yeah.
yes, and the bamboo gamelan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and also there are a lot of instruments that are made from clay, though that was something I wasn't aware of until I started to research. And the first time I went, I was invited to participate in a ceramic music festival by the Jatiwangi Art Factory.
Where was that?
It's near Majalenka. The people from Jatiwangi are big advocates of clay. And they said, well, we'll make you any instruments you want out of clay. But you have to design them and send us the drawings, and then we'll see what we can do. So in the beginning, I had, and this is 2012, in the beginning, I had designed this whole little village, a mini village made from clay, and you could play the instruments. And I wrote all these songs to do as a one-woman show, because I'm an only child. I do a lot of self-referential work. Jazz singer background, you know, that sort of performer. And then I had this amazing experience. So I get to this small town in the middle of rural Java, and they tell me, oh, okay, so you can do this piece that you've written, Village of One, Sendiri di Desa.
Sendiri means that you're alone in the village.
Alone in the village. And they said, but the Ibu want to meet you.
Ibu-ibu, right?
The Ibu want to meet you, but nobody had told me what that meant.
You didn't know.
And I had such culture shock, I didn't think to ask. So the next day they said, the Ibu want to work with you, they want to meet you, but they're not here yet.
Okay.
So my anticipation was growing. And by the third day they said, the Ibu are here, they're in the music room. So I went in and I thought, well, they're just going to be musicians, maybe they're percussionists or a guitar player. I go in, it's moms and little kids.
All women's.
Sitting there, smiling at me. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with these people? This is going to completely change the trajectory of what I had in mind to do for the festival. And every night, Ibu would come with the kids in their pajamas. They learned the songs. We staged the piece.
Wow.
And we did it. It was amazing because it changed me. And the idea of gotong royong.
Working together.
Working together and having the group resonate more than the individual by working together. It changed my focus of much of my creative work. And I became a cultural arts activist. So a lot of the work now reflects that time because it became a community thing. I'm not saying that I don't do work on my own. I'm a jazz singer and I like to perform my own songs. But that was a pivotal moment for me. Also, I don't have children. I wasn't necessarily working a lot with children. And it just opened up my heart. And it opened up my focus. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my work since that time has also been with women's communities. So I've done a series of projects where the core group are women.
So you were saying that because you perform in front of the ibu-ibu and in front of the children, it's like inspire you, and it's like touching your heart, right?
They learned my songs.
Yeah.
The other thing about Indonesia is that much of the culture is story-based.
Yes.
So the things from the Ramayana,
yes.
the idea of myths and folklore are still very resonant.
Very, very strong.
They're very resonant in the culture. So we were able to access some of those ideas in how we told the story in Sendiri di Desa. And we had a good monster, because you have to have a monster in a story. So we had Chakil, the famed forest demon.
Yeah.
But then my work from that point has really expanded and opened up in terms of my view of working in Indonesia. And I went to Team, where I've also performed in Jakarta.
Team Taman Ismail Marzuki.
Taman Ismail Marzuki. And I was walking through the plaza, and I saw a Betawi puppet in the window.
Yeah.
And I was attracted by the puppet, and I was with a friend of mine, a journalist friend, and I said, well, what is that? Can we go in there? And when I went in there was a woman in there who was the director of a festival that had just finished. And she and I took to each other immediately. Immediately, I felt like that was a family member that I just didn't know, that I was so connected with. And Otari Nur Permadi is the woman I'm working with on my Indonesian project now, that all this time, since 2012, we've managed to keep working together.
For 10 years.
Yes, for 10
working
years.
Together
Yes,
and create
that's
sound
right.
And inspire the community and also create some. And finally, the Molecule Project, right?
The Molecule Project, because when COVID started, I couldn't do community-based work, of course.
Yeah.
My work became working at home in my little room. I was doing some work online, but my approach to being online, I was okay with being online because I considered it an interesting challenge to be able to have warmth through the screen. So I sat in my room, and one night, songs came to me. And I took my little drum, and I sang, and the Molecule Project was born.
Wow.
You're this ephemeral. Ascending, ever onward, all expands there in the silver space, pushing air, pushing air. You're this ephemeral sound riding current in the silver space, pushing air, pushing air. Move through the dawn. Here comes another day, pushing air.
Wow. That's so beautiful. That's so
Thank
beautiful.
you.
How do you arrange yourself? I mean, how did you get the inspirations? I mean, you're playing the drum, the percussions, you sing, and you're thinking about the limitation of the mask, what's happening in the world, and the COVID and the pandemics. How do you put all your your imaginations and your creativities and the problem of the words and suddenly into one song? So how do you do that?
You go down to the molecule of the situation.
The molecule is
the
like
molecule of the situation
center,
itself,
like
the center,
okay.
Right? And then we have this thing that we were doing these workshops online because I shared it with my friend Otari, and I said, I've written this song cycle because there's 5 songs. I said, maybe we could do something with this. And she said, well, let's do some online workshops and see what we get. So we had the Zoom screen. And the challenge was, how can we communicate creatively through the Zoom screen and find a way through the maze of this time, through artistic expression? Because we had actors, we had dancers, we have monologists, and visual artists that have been involved in the Indonesian aspect of the project. But when you have everybody like sitting and doing a gesture together while the song is being played or while we're singing the song together, and we've invented this, I invented this gesture of the molecule. So, you bring it over to the side. You can do it.
Like this?
Yeah, and then you bring it over to the side and you look at it like
the
COVID molecule.
Oh, okay.
Then you bring it over to the other side like. Then you bring it up by your heart and you look through it at each other on the screen. Then you bring it up and then you burst it.
Okay. This is like a spiritual, what is it? Effects, right?
Yeah.
I see.
I have in one of the songs, it's so round and beautiful, so dangerous and red. Iman, aman, imun.
Iman, aman, imun.
Right.
Iman, aman, and safe, and immune. All right.
The unseen molecule. Dari molekul tak terlihat.
Dari molekul tidak terlihat, tak terlihat.
It's like,
let's hear.
Let me see. Forgive me if I can.
It's fine.
Siapakah dirimu? Apakah dirimu? Kenapa kamu? Hey kau molekul. Jangan ganggu aku.
Jangan ganggu aku.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So that's. Siapakah dirimu? Apakah dirimu? Kenapa kamu? Hey kau molekul. Jangan ganggu aku. Jangan ganggu aku. Jangan ganggu aku.
Cool.
All right.
It's like a typical, that's a very Indonesian. The beat is like a dangdut, it's like a dangdut with the.
I know dangdut.
Dangdut is heavy with the percussionist, right? The percussion is the most important part of the dangdut. Yeah. And you have a project, and you connect your project with far away to Indonesia. It's like, and with this screen, you have a conversation with Indonesia and create some things. Maybe people ask, the other people say, how do you do that? I mean, as a New Yorker, how do you connect it with the Indonesian culture? So how do you connect that as a New Yorker?
Well, part of it is that I'm working with a fantastic team.
Okay.
There. And Otari, my producer on the project, she's great. And she has translated lyrics of mine before. We've done work with youth before. And we've done fantastic work in a girls' school near Bogor. I've worked with I'll show you some photos because it's just magic. But I think that there are things about working in other cultures, and Indonesian culture, we have to talk about the warmth the cultural richness, the welcoming of someone that's coming from another place.
And the variety of the culture also. The camera.
Explore those different aspects of who you are and use all of your creativity. Don't limit yourself to just one medium.
You also have connections and you have interest with Maroko, right?
Yes, I have a long connection with
Tell us a little bit
Morocco.
about the Marukun Project.
The Moroccan project I'm doing now, I started during COVID time. It's called G2G2G, Gate to Gate to Gate. And it's in Fez and the city of Meknes. And because I couldn't do my community work or my collaborative work because of COVID, I wanted to go to Morocco. I got the idea to go to Morocco, to Fez, where that is the most ancient, intact Medina or old city in the world. But there are a series of gates there, and because I'm an architecture nut, and there's so much history in those gates, I thought, well, what if I use that as my point of creative inspiration? And I go to these different gates, and I research the history, and I have a guide take me, and then I write songs about those places. Wow. Sometimes from my viewpoint, sometimes from the viewpoint of the gate itself. So I now have 12 songs that I've written since a year ago.
Is it in English or it's Moroccan?
They are in English. And they are all about the different elements that are present in those places. And then I made these movies. I've been in the city of Meknes, which has a long history also from the time of the Sultanate. And there's very interesting gates there that are they resonate with me with a lot of our social issues now. And that was an inspiration for songs.
Yeah.
So I'm
that's so
would you want me to sing a little bit for you?
Yes.
So there's one gate, Bab Fatu. It means gate of the opening.
Okay.
And it's a gate that looks to the mountains. And it was in the Andalusian quarter of Fez, because Fez is more in the north. So you've got some feeling of the northern part of Morocco. So this is the gate. I stand at the gate and enter the city of longing. Not even my love can't find me in this place. You walk alone. Gate of forgotten history, gate of a new memory, paradise lost to mortar and time. Gate of great mystery, gate of great symmetry, two hands unfolding, held with a sigh. Smokers and sellers, sellers and singers, to the north, to the east, to the sea, to the mountains.
Wow. I've never been to Morocco, but I'm trying to imagine.
And because I studied in this program in India in 2001 called the Jazz India Vocal Institute, I have ways of moving my voice that blend my jazz sound with some of the sounds of North India, and also sounds that you find in flamenco singing, and also in northern part of Morocco. You know, moving the voice, using the connecting notes, and the movement of the voice between the notes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and falling.
Yeah. It's just like, it's more like, you know, because Arabian is like more, sound is, I'm not saying that it's sexy, but it's more like, it's touch but untouchable, you know, sing like that, you sing like that's how they sing, you know. And when you sing it and connect it to your percussions, it's like, and you are from New York, it's like, then I see like a different person. I mean, it's a different perspective, you know. It's like, that's why I think I'm gonna tell, I'm saying that you are like a global artist, right? So what do you have any tips for that? I mean, because your story is like you inspire other people, you inspire other musicians, you know. The music is not only for the commercials, the music is also for the art, the music is also for giving to other people, right?
That a good song can raise the roof and change us as people. You know, so I've been trying to write some things that have a bigger resonance. And I think that also has something to do with what I learned back now in 2001 when I studied in India. And my teacher, she said, when we come to singing, we have to think, who am I to touch the divine? That the singer's job is to open the door to the divine for the audience. We are the conduit. We could be attached to what we do, but we shouldn't be that attached to it. Because for me, in terms of my spiritual practice, I believe that music is one of the ways that we can open that door. But also other methods of creativity, like movement can be that. Visual arts can be that. Writing can be that. Journalism can be that. That creativity, that creative spark is so central to our humanity. So what I would say to youth is explore those different aspects of who you are.
You can say to the youth,
You know,
to the camera.
explore those different aspects of who you are and use all of your creativity. Don't limit yourself to just one medium. That's
All right. Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you so much. This is a short education for us. So it's not about inspiration, but it's also about educations. If you want to do it yourself, don't limit yourself and be yourself and create something to the world and share to the world.
That's right.
Terima kasih teman-teman semua. Sampai ketemu lagi di VOA Kreatif Talk episode mendatang. Thank you so much.